fairly soon. Yeah, just break it, Joe. No S. Alright, so we have started already, and this time it's looking like Savannah. I actually missed what it was, I was looking into the chat. Hades and Oranos. Oh. Haha. Hades? Ah, well. I kinda think you know I am in here. Because he switched God. I don't exactly think you are allowed to do that. In a veto. But so far we don't see the red player complaining. I'm not sure, you probably would have noticed. But it's not cool. And since this happened, it's actually telling us a bit who the player could be. Because that was the one who was vetoing, if I remember correctly, 7-6. He was the Oranos. Now he's switching into another god. If I were to guess, this is going to be either more. Yeah, that's going to be my tip for the moment. That's going to be my tip. That it's actually more champion. The 7-6-4-8-7. Okay, let's see if he's going to be able to actually master enough strength with Hades, which is definitely not his god. If it's him, you definitely don't know if it's him against bobibobi, who is actually also switching, right? Yeah. Okay. So stop that. I'm just messing up. Because the tournament should be all random. Both gods and this, so yeah, that's a bit difference in here. So I'm sorry for everybody, sorry to more, and sorry to everything. I'm just going to continue with the game as if I didn't say that, hopefully. And in the meantime, not really seeing anything all that interesting, because of course we are on a standard map in the first minutes. Not even seeing a relic first, but interesting position of the placements. Of course we are on fairly standard Savannah, which means that Savannah are usually kinda backish TCs. That definitely makes for a bit different gameplay and should be a bit of a bonus right now for the Hades, but yeah, probably not going to be that different for the Oranos. Should be really expecting something fairly standard from him. This is still a reasonably high hunt map, even though he doesn't see all that many hunt left still. Just one zebra, some few hyenas, that's pretty much it for the time being. I'm not really exactly sure where he's going to be coming from the rhino in here. Probably into the chickens, he's already coming in there because he cannot really spare all that much of walking time just getting into gazelles. Probably going to be a bit more of them, yes. A whole lot more of them. Because he is having slow villages, and even though he's against a Hades, so you cannot expect any kind of rush. Right now looking at pretty good relic, that would be great. For the Hades, for the better toxods. He's probably not going to be rushing that hardly. And that means that he can't even afford a bit of idle time. Exactly right now as 7-6-4-8-7 is having. And what's exactly the reason for that? Yeah, he wasn't missing. He wasn't, or was he? Yeah, he was. He was actually missing wood right now for the granary. So that's definitely a player who is not used to Greek build orders. And that could be a bit of a giveaway who that could be. So far though, fairly standard. 3 here, 2, 3 in here. So not exactly sure where he messed up. 6 villages is a bit excessive. On a high hunt map you can usually start with 5 and you're going to be a bit better off because of course you're going to be switching into wood and gold a bit earlier. But otherwise on the right we are seeing pretty decent spot for the rhinos, but it's not going to be all that safe. There's absolutely nothing nearby that could be protecting it, and especially with bobibobi right now discovering it. Not really expecting that 7-6-4 is going to be all that interested in that hunt anytime soon, because of course against an Oranos it's going to be inherently rather unsafe. And you don't really want to be caught out of the position at all. In the meantime, the same rhinos are right now for bobibobi quite far away. So basically the same situation, but he's at least having the town center fairly close by. But yeah, he's probably gonna get the town center at a time when he's already not going to be all that dependent on the hunt, and he's going to be already switching into the farms. So far, fairly standard build up. Already working on the wall in right now, the number player. And on the chickens, which is reasonably the same as was bobibobi just a bit earlier, but he's already coming 30% into Prometheus, which is about 5-minute advance, nothing really that major. But we are looking at Ajax for numbers. And going for Athena. Well, as a Hades you don't have all that many choices. Going for Pestilence is usually strictly worse. Unless you have some special strat in mind, like for example in team games on water. There he's already moving onto Oranos quite fast in his game, and that could be telling us that he's quite interested in the town center. And as fast as he advances, he's probably going to be taking it fairly soon after he drops the military and counter barracks. Let's see what's going to be the units of choice for him. Promethean up. Scouting quite nicely positioned because he at least sees if his opponent is gonna go for the town center and through the right side or not. As in the meantime, the last one is scouting at the back and sees that there is even extra hand potentially available for number players, so he doesn't need to worry about anything all that much. He's just going to be pretty much fine for a reasonable amount of time. Interesting. This is fairly interesting that Bobby would be coming for military barracks and not country barracks. He's going for Murmilos, but not for Turmas, especially against Hades. That's really kind of fairly curious. And you can see Hades coming for the second TC, which I think is fairly reasonable. Because of course, he doesn't have all that many options how to raid. Even though he could, with Hippicons as any kind of Greek could, but still, he probably wants to go for a bit better economy. Be defensively, advance into the next ages, and then spam archers as much as possible. In the meantime, counterbacks have been built on the right. So far, one-on-one. This is definitely a nice build-up because he's going to be protecting not only the hunters in there, but potentially going to be switching also into the mine and basically just confirming that this town center is going to be in the vicinity of bobibobi's gameplay fairly soon, and that's something that we should be expecting for him. Valor on a few Murmilos. A really fairly interesting choice so far. Kind of unusual gameplay. Could be telling us that this is not really any player that would be playing Atlanteans all that often, already coming for the second TC as we were expecting in there, but it's going to be a bit later then. Of course, 764, as he already did go for it as fast as he advanced into the next age. This also doesn't make all that much of a sense because he's going to be facing a lot of archers, if anything. So far, just full-on economy, and that's it. Well, he does have the Sentinels, which basically just confirms that those dudes are not the cleverest of ideas. Not any kind of extra upgrades. And what's going to be the raiding for the hunt, which could be potentially working because of course the defense of just Minotaur with Ajax and on top of that a few Sentinels is not going to be enough, and the hunt is not going to be all that safe anymore. And just reinforcement, just a bit of scouting with husbandry already on the goats. Oh, that's nasty. Just killing the hunts with his opponent cannot get it. Forcing him basically a whole lot more into farms. And even if he's coming into farms, then why isn't actually he coming for plow? Because plow is literally dirt cheap. And if you're having already all that many farms, basically even if you're having just one farm, you should be going for plow. Because it's an upgrade that's cheap and you're definitely going to be needing it sooner rather than later. So there's that. And if really the plow is not going to be coming in anytime soon, almost tempted to say that it's going to be Sensui, because Sensui is the player famed for not upgrading economy and farms especially. But yeah, I don't actually think that he's actually playing lately, so that is just now going to be given a whole lot more opportunities to bobibobi. He already is having a lot of idle army that he could be coming into attack with, and his opponent is just now ready with stables, which is of course the correct building and correct units against an Atlantean. But as a Hades, I would be expecting a few more archers for you as well, because of course they are quite effective unit, not only against just the Murmilos, but with their higher attack, plow finally coming in, they are going to be effective also against even just the Turmas, because of the meat shield of the Hippicons in front of the army. Hendax pickaxe, okay. Just pickaxe, no Hendax, even though he's coming for a lot of wood. Interesting choices being made all across the game. But no researches coming up. Well, not really coming into heroic either. We could be housed pretty soon. Whereas bobibobi, he's spending absolutely everything so that he has basically full pop army into the classic age, which could be a pretty significant problem pretty soon for the numbers. As of course, he's going to be facing an army that he cannot deal with, like at all. Like at all. Just setting up economy. I'm really thinking this is not enough for the army. Those two stables are just not enough for anything. You can see that he doesn't even have the economy for that all that much. He can barely support both stables with the gold. Because the epicons are of course quite expensive at 80. And right now, ooh, a bit of micro missing in here. Yeah, he's just basically letting Ajax to kill all the heroes. Rather, all the mythic units. Vital Tulmas. He's forgetting Valor. Most definitely forgetting Valor. Just confirming right now that bobibobi is definitely not main of Atlantean, or at least Oranos. And I kinda think that this thing could be set about 764. So it's pretty much a fair fight. I'm kinda curious how this is going to be developing, because finally we are seeing the switch into farms. Third stable, no, don't think that's clever idea. Because he's having literally 7 villages on gold. That's certainly not enough for 3 stables and 1 archer range, so that definitely should have been another archer range, I'm thinking. And in the meantime, he should have been also going for a few extra farms, as right now Chiron is up, and as exactly needed, as even a bit of villager fighting in here is quite going in Bobby's favor. Not as much for 764, because even though he could be winning the battles in there, which he isn't, you can see quite convincingly isn't, he's of course going to be losing a ton of villages right about now, and this seems pretty hard to deal with. Even though 764 is right now attempting to stop the third town center from coming up, here the really fight is going to work, but in here definitely not. You can see already all the gold villages dead, and the town center is going to be falling fairly soon also, because blue should be running out of gold. Yeah, he's right now at 8. He's also going to be out of resources to actually repair. Right now switching also into the gold in the top, which is definitely needed, and he's probably switching from the wood line, I'm thinking, but this town center really seems to be pretty much toast. I don't expect that it's going to be standing for much longer, but it's going to be still needing a bit of reinforcements, a few tricks coming through the town center, but yep, this seems to be quite nicely played by bobibobi, and the town center definitely doesn't look like that it should be standing for much longer. Low for Bobby. Okay, so that's going to be better economy for him. He has already dealt with the nuisance at the top, going to be finishing with 3 TCs fairly soon, and that's going to be giving him even more advantage that he's already having. Right now, going to be killing significant portion. Why? You're down to about 300 hit points. You could be taking it down by just two turmas, pretty much. Yeah, that was a mistake, and it's going to be a fairly costly mistake if some significant repairs are going to be made on the town center. But he's probably right now going to be attempting to switch into gold mine, but of course it's going to be resulting into switch of gold mine yet again for 764 on the right side. He still does have at least a few remaining, 1000 actually, that's not bad. But yeah, he definitely should have finished with the town center, because that would basically make sure that his opponent is not going to be having the gold at all on the right side, whereas on the left it's probably just going to be quite fairly easy for him to also get rid of those villages anyway. So yep, this is kinda aiming into more or less an inevitable end and fate for the blue player. Okay, storehouse. Even though it's in enough numbers, not sure that the really fighting is really going to be that effective for him yet again, especially right now that there's already right now a second attempt at the town center, but it has already been quite a lot repaired at about 1000 hit points before the attack actually came in. And of course the Chiron is quite a big problem, as he's dealing with the Prometheans, which should be the units that are dealing the bulk of the damage into the town center. In the meantime, attack, I was going to say repelled on the left because they were coming back, but unfortunately all the army from blue is actually dead right about now, which results into another stop of economy on the gold, and that's of course just going to be supporting the claim on the whole base of 764, as even though he was sending a few units on the right to help defend the town center, he just cannot fight at 2 spots at once, it seems like. And bobibobi, so far, doing a pretty good job of that, and well, all he needs to do is just basically leave this in here, make sure that the gold mine is not going to be used at all, and well, even going to be stealing the front DC from his opponent and basically just ramming the point home that, yep, your base is basically mine. Just making sure that the sentry towers are not going to be coming up just like some kind of extra help. But he doesn't have the gold, so of course they are not going to be coming up. Even though ton of wood and food, of course. He should be using more mythical units. As a Greek, you usually want to do that, and especially against Atlanteans, because once the Oranos runs out of Valors, it's usually very hard for him to produce heroes in Classical Age. And he has probably already run out. No, he is having just still one left. But yeah, the Greek mythical units are very strong. And once you are exactly in this position where you are having problems with gold and overall economy and such, you definitely are well off to produce anything, even like the Minotaurs right now, for him, as they will be helping significantly, especially with the attack being, with the special attack being basically insta-kill. So if you micro them properly, you are in for fairly nice addition to your battlefield. Well, this was fairly underestimated right now by bobibobi. Probably didn't expect all that much of an army from 764, and especially right now, the fire from the TC is just coming back to bite him, and he definitely has to be. Right now wondering, why didn't I finish with the town center when I had the opportunity? Yeah, well, he didn't. And right now he's paying for it quite significantly. Already 1200, that's going to be pretty hard to take down, especially without any kind of siege. Which should probably result in bobibobi thinking about advancing into the heroic age, because he could definitely use some palace units, as this fight is not going to go anywhere nice for him, because the Hippicons are going in numbers, so are slowly the rest of the army, like the shades and even the few archers in there. And Atlantean, especially without upgrades, even though he's having at least medium war Milos, that's what he's having right now, he cannot really fight all that much against Classical Age Zeus army, or Zeus Greek army. And you can see the heavy losses, and even with the extra population limit and the 4 town centers, which he, well, curiously can support. I was kind of thinking that he actually cannot. But 160, that's more like 3, because you don't have the fortified TC in here. But if he had the fortified TC at 180, you definitely wouldn't be. But he is doing just fine, trying to kill as much economy as possible. But yeah, it's basically just going to be up to when the gold runs out altogether, because 764 doesn't have any kind of extra gold mine anywhere else. His next gold mines are in the front. This is his next closest gold mine, and the one in the corner. So once he runs out of the 600, and of course the one on the left, which is going to be still 3,000 left, he definitely doesn't have enough push to go for any kind of more gold mines. And if he is not heroic age before that, which he probably won't be, and because right now he's basically out of army as well, because finally the numbers have been winning, or rather are winning for bobibobi. And yep, it seems like that he has finally dealt a final blow to the blue player, and blue is going to be losing town center right now, finally. And yep, there's not going to be much of a chance for him to come back from this, so goodbye TC. It's going to be 4 versus 1, and he has lost the access to this gold mine, which probably is going to be resulting into just Red pushing forward through this position and tower. Yeah, it's up, but even villages are going to be good enough to get rid of those pesky towers, because they are a bit too late and they are already not going to be helping at all. So a bit of idles as they were building the houses in there, going for the town center. bobibobi going to be at 5, and of course this is going to be just right now waiting if maybe 764 can amass some kind of significant army. But yeah, all it takes right now is for bobibobi to come for the gold mine, and that's it. Wouldn't be surprised if actually Red had enough resources for heroic. Yeah, well, he doesn't need that. Or rather, doesn't think he needs that. Medium Hippicons though, that could be a bit of a problem. Especially if medium toxels followed. You can see right now the most significant problem are going to be the medium or Milos for 764. And well, yeah, GG's right now being called, as there's really no significant way back that I could be seeing. He's just going to be running out of the gold pretty soon, just 1000 left. And once he does, there's absolutely nothing for him to do. So GG, well played, and bobibobi is going to be advancing into the next round Whereas 764 is dropping into the losers bracket, which I think is present in the tournament. Let's check into the post game. Yeah, we're probably going to be seeing bobibobi winning everything. But curiously enough, not military. But he was having significant losses because of inefficient fights next to town center, and of course, because of the stronger units of the Greek. Otherwise, the economy is so much better. But he was having many more town centers a lot sooner. Nice military count and killed ratio in here. Not bad at all. Well, GG.